All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob at Smirking Gun Reviews, and I'm going to talk about something. If you've already clicked on it, you know what we're going to talk about. We're going to be talking about Atlanta Season 2. We're going to be reviewing that. I would have put this on my best TV shows of the year list if I had been able to watch it. It just came out on Hulu, the second season, and so I just binge watched it. And I don't binge watch anything really that hardcore anymore, but I plowed through this, not so I could get the review out, but because I couldn't stop watching it. I've watched the first season, and I think it's some of the best written stuff. And season 2 is no different. This is easily some of the best writing on TV right now. And when I like Donald Glover, but when I first heard about the show, I just felt like this was not for me. And you know, I try not to have those knee-jerk reactions but when it comes to what I watch, a lot of times it's like first impressions count for me. And my first impression was that this wasn't for me. But I've been trying to really branch out and take chances with things that aren't normally directed towards me or for me, or am I the audience for this, that kind of thing. But Atlanta is just, the writing on this show is just too goddamn good to ignore. And the acting is so great, and the authenticity of this show. Now, I compare this to, like, because this isn't a comedy. I think it's like whenever it's up for awards, I think they put it in the comedy category, but I would put this in for drama series. It's not a dramedy either. I mean, there's funny stuff in it, but it's really just I'm not going to try to pretend that I know what it's like to live in Atlanta. I'm not going to try to pretend that I know what it's like to be an African American in Atlanta trying to be a rapper. I can't identify with it. I can't. I'm just some white kid from Illinois, you know? But people are people. And the way that people talk and do things on this show are as realistic as pretty much you're going to get. I mean, some things are exaggerated on the show. Some things are, like Teddy Perkins that's his name, right? That episode is way over the top. There is some really big leaps on this show, but for the majority of it, it is so grounded in reality that it's very uncomfortable to watch at times, because I feel like I'm watching real people deal with real things. And the only shows that I can think of that come close to this is like, and I know that this is like whatever, but because everybody talks about it when they talk about realism, and that's The Wire. It reminds me of like if The Wire and whatever, however you think of the person, it reminds me of Louis C.K.'s Louis on FX. Just the general the realistic way people are and talk and behave is so much a part of this show that I feel like it's like a cross of that, because Donald Glover is a pretty funny person, but you know, he's also a rapper, and he's kind of a, like, I don't know, I guess like a modern Renaissance man, because he's doing it all. But I just, you know, I don't, it's hard for me to like review things like this in a way, because I don't know if it's, you know, am I the person that should be reviewing this kind of show? And I try to tell myself, you like the show, review the show. You know what I mean? And I think it's important for people to try to watch new things and get out of your comfort zone when you're watching TV. And that's what this kind of does for me. Is I'm kind of like a voyeur in a way in this, because I don't know this lifestyle. I don't know this, you know, a lot about this culture. And I kind of feel like I'm on the outside looking in to a very realistic look at the way things are in the world of Earn and Al and Darius and Van, I feel like I'm kind of spying on these people's lives. And so it's kind of like it's kind of weird to like to no, I know I'm watching a fictional show, but I feel like I'm watching real people and I'm not really supposed to be paying attention to, you know what I mean? The cast is so first rate. You know, of course you got Donald Glover, but you got Brian Tyree Henry, Lakeith Stanfield, and Zazie Beetz. They are four of the best actors around. And these guys could do anything. I hope Brian Tyree Henry gets to do more than movies like that Hotel Artemis, because he's really great in this. Not a single one of these four. They can pretty much do whatever they want. And I hope that this show goes on a little while longer before they just get way too big for a show like this. But just to touch on some things, I mean, the episode that everybody knows, and if you know this show, you know what I'm talking about. But if this review is really for people that haven't given the show a chance or aren't sure about it or whatever. But the big one where he showed up at the Emmys dressed as this guy, that Teddy Perkins. Like, that was like a freaking horror movie. Like, and Lakeith Stanfield, who was in Get Out. It felt like I was watching like that guy from that movie, just getting trapped in another bad situation, but it's also saying, stuff about like, look, it's not saying that Teddy Perkins is, a Michael Jackson-esque character, but I mean, it kind of feels like that's what they're saying. And they talk about the fathers and how people, it just seems like people like Teddy Perkins have been abused for so long that that's just what they feel like they deserve, and that they defend their fathers. But it was such a bizarre and scary episode at the same time, where it was trying to say something but also be really entertaining and creepy as hell. It's one of the creepiest episodes of television. And I mean, the X-Files is really creepy, but this could have been an X-File practically. The one where he gets lost in the woods, where Al gets lost in the woods, was really great, because you have that first part of the episode where and spoilers, by the way, if you haven't watched it. So I'm going to talk about the episodes now. Like where they're talking about being real and, being fake and not wanting to be fake, and how he ends up in the woods after being attacked by three guys who, act like his fans and stuff. And it's just an amazing little tiny 20-minute story of how much character they give Al in this, to how he starts out and where he ends, where he's given the kind of the little white kid, pictures, and being genuine about it, and being like, I got to appreciate what I got, because you never know what could happen to you. Alligator Man is hilarious with Cat Williams, a real alligator. I love him running away at the end. But it's just, so many of these situations, I feel like, are, even though I've never experienced it on that level, I think a lot of people can experience or have experienced situations like they do on this show. Like, I've been in places where you go over to somebody's house and shit's just already going down, and then you're in the middle of it and you don't want anything to do with it. And you don't know why you're, what you're doing there, but it's hilarious. And just the whole thing with Florida Man. I love that. A Florida man did this, and a Florida man does that. Like Darius warning Earn for his parents to watch out for Florida Man. I love that joke. There is funny stuff in here, and most of it comes from social commentary. When the episode Helen, when Earn and Van go to that German polka fest, which is you forget that she comes from she grew up differently than him, and even though she's black like him, it shows that they don't necessarily have the same interests, and this is kind of where that comes to a head, where they can't be together anymore. And Zazie Beetz kills it in that episode. She kills it in all the episodes that she's in, like the Champagne Poppy, where she's trying to get on a picture with Drake on Instagram and goes to this stupid party and finds out that it's really just a place for people to, get their picture taken with a fake thing of Drake. And that's, speaking of which, like the way people are always trying to hustle on this show. I guess that's how everybody is in life, or a lot of people are. We're all hustling it, but it's like some of us, we don't even know we're hustling. Down there, whatever's going on in Atlanta, and I'm sure in a lot of other places in the country, that's hustling. People are always looking to just figure out how to make a buck. And I've just been, I've never been in a situation where I've had to do anything like that. I've been broke enough to where I have to sell some stuff at like pawn shops and things like that, but I've never had to hustle. And watching it is almost like hypnotic, watching how everybody is always out to try to find a way to make a buck. And coming up with just the most crazy ideas that I would never think of. And I've got a lot of imagination, but people will just do anything to try to make a dollar. And it's kind of fascinating to see it like that. And I don't, you could say, oh, of course it's like fine for me to like, oh, it's so, hilarious for me, a guy, like some white privileged kid, to find this amusing. But it's not just kind of like when the situations are funny. It's fascinating that, like, would I be able to do this? Like if push came to shove, what would I do to like pay the bills? Like I donate plasma twice a week. I work a 40-hour job and I still donate plasma twice a week to, pay grocery bills and gas in the car and pay for the internet. And so I just find it interesting how much of this show is about just trying to get paid any way you can. And I really like that touch to it, where it's just everybody's doing it. I guess they call season 2 Robin season. And damn, people are ruthless on this show. And the writing of it, just even though it's like when people are getting into these situations, it feels like situations that have happened to people. The FUBU episode, that is a heartbreaking episode. That is just, who hasn't been a kid? Now, I mean, in this case, a kid kills himself because of something that happens. But who hasn't been like sat there in silence when if you said something to somebody, you might save them some pain when you're a kid, but you didn't stand up because we're all just so scared of being the center of attention. Like there's people that like being the center of attention, and then there's the bad part of being the center of attention. And that episode, man, just really was heartbreaking because it doesn't get resolved. Nobody says anything. People just move on, and that's real. That's real. People sit there and that's shit you carry with you your whole lives. And even though it's saying some other stuff about, like family and how you protect each other, like Al and Ern do. But it's just really crushing stuff. What else do we got here? Barbershop was fucking hilarious. The guy Al just wants to get his hair cut. And the growing frustration, it is almost like a cartoon where, somebody's trying to get from point A to point B, and just something just keeps piling on and piling on and piling on until you're pretty much ready to fucking kill the guy. That's really all I'm going to say about it. I mean, the end where Ern finds out that the gun is still in his bag, and slips the gun into the other rapper's bag to get him in trouble. And they think that, well, with him out of the way, they could probably headline this concert and in Europe. And Al notices and quietly tells Ern, this is what I'm talking about. This is what we got to do. Fuck other people, man. Like, cause they're not out, like nobody's looking out for us. So we got to just basically do whatever. And that's just more hustle. Now, we also see what the other rapper was willing to do, when he gets his little friend to take the rap for the gun so that he can go on tour. And it shows like that's even, like that's where, Al could be headed, is that kind of sacrifice, being willing to Well, this guy who's got the, he is where they want to be. He's already willing to throw people under the bus for his own gain. And I'm sure that the person who took the rap, is going to get something from it. But, Al telling Earn just then, like, we're family and this is kind of like, what we do for each other. And even though he hasn't made a move like that on Earn or anybody now, it doesn't mean that in the future that's not something that might be, forced upon them as friends, like something that could put even more of a strain. I'm actually surprised that Earn went with them because of the whole thing with his daughter and the schools. But just really happy that I watched this. And I think that if you haven't watched it, you really should. It is amazing. I am just blown away that these are just 20-minute episodes. There's more character and good writing in these 20-minute episodes than most regular hour-long dramas. And, like, seriously, like, at least way more than anything on network television. And yeah, the only thing, is that there's shows like this on FX, but not like this. This is just something, a whole other animal, and I'm really looking forward to season 3. I'm going to try my best to watch season 3 as it airs this time because I don't have cable, so there's no real way for me to watch it without paying for it. So I guess I'll be buying the episodes on Amazon or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, that's Atlanta season 2. It's so good. So choice. I guess I can't believe I just said so choice. What is this, 1992? So anyway, I better stop now. So anyway, if you like this review of Atlanta, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, all that jazz. I want to know what you guys think of Atlanta because I dig it, man. I really do. And it's a nice change of pace for me because the writing I love good writing. And whatever the subject matter is, I will always flock to a show that has excellent writing, even if it has nothing that I can relate to at all. And that's an even more awesome thing is when I can be interested in something that I normally wouldn't be interested in. So anyway, that's it. This is Robert Smirking Interview saying thanks for all the support. Thanks for watching this, and we will see you on the next video. Bye.